Man, I was reading the book of Ruth this morning. For those of you that aren't familiar with the story, it's basically this woman who had two sons and a husband, and she's from Israel, and there was a famine, and they basically were driven to an outer land essentially. And while they were in this land, her husband passed away. And so she sent her sons out to find wives, and so they did. And these two wives came and they became her daughters-in-law. And for a time, everything was kosher and good. But then, for some reason, both of her sons also perished, leaving her with just the two daughter-in-laws, no husband and no sons. And so she heard that the Lord had been favorable to Israel and basically had broken the famine and there was food there. And so she was going to return to her homeland. And so she told her two daughter-in-laws who were not Israelite that they should return to their families since they have no husbands, and because she was well past childbearing years, and so there was no real potential for her to be able to bear more sons for them to marry, which is just a wild thought in and of itself. Like, the way ancient cultures worked are so different to the way our cultures work now. So she tells the two daughters-in-law that they need to return, and initially neither of them want to go. But after, basically convincing them, one of them decides to return to her family. But the other one, Ruth, says to her, listen, please don't tell me to go. Wherever you go, I go. Basically to the grave. Like, there's this beautiful poetry in the way that she words it. I mean, it's like so powerful that literally people use this on like signposts and stuff. But in effect, what she says is, she's like, wherever you die is where I will be buried. That's how connected to you I'm going to be. And as I read that, I gotta be honest, man, like, embarrassingly, man, I just sat there on my couch and I just wept. Like, it was like to see the dedication of Ruth to Naomi, and then how when they got to Israel, and how Boaz, who was a family member of Naomi's, basically, like, whenever they got back, there were people that she knew, obviously, because that's where she was from, and so Ruth went and worked in the fields for Boaz, and Boaz showed kindness to Ruth, and allowed her to glean the field and everything, and told the young men who basically, like, guarded the field to watch out for her, and just to protect her and make sure she wasn't taken advantage of. And it's like, as you're, God, man, it still messes me up when I think about it. Like, as you're reading this story, you have this, this lady who is a wonderful, God-fearing woman who has gone through having to leave her people due to a famine. She's lost her husband. She's lost both of her sons. And at this point, she's at a place where it's like, look, just everyone should just leave me. I'm going to go home. I mean, even when she gets back, she tells people not to call her Naomi, which means, I think it's like pleasant or something to that effect. But rather they should call her Mara, which means bitterness. And it's just like the levels of what she went through was so brutal. And to see the kindness of Ruth, and the dedication to be with her in the brokenness. I mean, the thing is that you got to think, like, Ruth just lost her husband too, because both of Naomi's sons died. That was Ruth's husband. Her husband died, and in the midst of her own grief, she chose to stay with Naomi. And it's like, you look at that, and I'm just, I found myself thinking about, like, how God is with us through thick and thin. Like, no matter how bad things get, and man, you guys, I've been through some really, like, not cool stuff. Even right now, I mean, I can't get into it, but I mean, as I'm sitting here talking, like, I'm in the middle of a situation right now that it could go very, very badly for my family. And again, like, just how present the Lord is with us, even in this grief, in these dark moments. His kindness shows up if we remain faithful to him in that. And if you read the rest of the story, you see how the Lord completely redeems the entire situation. I mean, it's such a, like, when you look at the situation, it's such an awful situation. Like, so much sadness in how that whole thing played out. Um, but then you also see how he just completely redeems it. Um, and that's the takeaway. Like, no matter how messed up the situation gets, no matter how bad things seem to be, if you'll hold on to the Lord, he can redeem anything. I mean, literally anything. It doesn't matter how bad it seems. But unfortunately, what happens is when we go through hardship and we go through difficulty, our tendency is to pull away from the Lord, to push away the person who has the power to actually redeem the situation. And that's what we have to overcome in our sadness, in our grief, is not to push away the one who actually has the ability to redeem it, but to hold fast to the one who has the ability to redeem it. And as somebody who's been through a lot of situations, I'm between losing my parents and my grandmother to a car accident, to being laid off multiple times, losing businesses, being on food stamps, and now dealing with something else. Like, I've been through enough that it would not be unreasonable for me to say, Lord, what the heck? But despite everything we've been through, every situation that I've experienced, every place where it felt like my life just fell apart, the way the Lord redeemed it on the other side was beautiful. And that's the thing. I mean, when you read the story of Ruth, that's not necessarily the whole point of the book. I think the point is more focused on how God redeems the totality of creation through Christ. But I think there's a micro view that we can take there as well, that the Lord redeems our individual situations as well, if we'll hold on to him, if we don't abandon him when it seems like everything has collapsed and all of the reasons for us to hold on to him have collapsed on us. If we hold fast, the way he redeems the situation on the other side is nothing short of profound. So anyway, I know this isn't super powerful, like some of my other teachings, but this is what I was thinking about today. Because, man, I'm pretty beat up, and I honestly just didn't want to make anything today, to be completely transparent. I actually thought about just not making anything this whole week, but the Lord's kind, and and I got a couple of messages from people this morning that reminded me that this work that I do here, these videos that I make, even on the days when I just don't feel like it, there are people who are still being impacted by it, and it's still helpful, and so yeah, even this very sloppy video hopefully helps somebody, hopefully brings you some hope if you're in a tough spot. So yeah.